Hotep. So Im Hotep. It's actually read Imam Hotep. It means welcome. Here, Hotep, in peace. So Im, the preposition in, welcome, in peace. And this is Medu Necher. So Medu is the plural for words. Okay? And this is sacred. I mean, imagine you have a language called sacred words. And so it's a very spiritual culture. This is the ancient language of Kemet. In 332 BC, Kemet was invaded by the Greeks. And the Greeks, when they arrived in Kemet, they said, "What is your leader?" And the people said, "Het Ka Ptah." So the temple had the spirit of Ptah. If you study Kemetic culture, there is a principle called Hawet. It's Hawet. So Hawet Heru. It means the dimension, the temple of Heru, is what is the principle which people call Hathor. The original name is Hawet Heru. But you'll see, Hathor is no Kemet. When the Greeks invaded Kemet, they started to translate things. They learned a lot. They used Kemetic culture to create Greek mythology. Greek mythology comes from 90% is extracted from Kemetic culture. There is a book by Homer, the Iliad, and he says that the Greeks gods, they used to go and bathe with the Ethiopians. Okay, so they used to go and learn from the Ethiopians. So the Greeks, they used to call the Kemites, and anyone who has an African origin, Ethiopian. Ethiopian means the burnt face. You know, they had no names. They have no name for the race. Okay, so it's the sun god has burned their face, Ethiopia. So I'm delighted to welcome you to this. We're going to explore in 2025 a season in Kemet called the 18th dynasty. It's one of the richest and one of the most interesting dynasties of Kemet. Very interesting. There were no dynasties in Kemet. Dynasty is a Western term. Archaeologists and historians from the West, they divided the seasons, the years, into dynasties. You have the Old Kingdom and you have the New Kingdom. The 18th dynasty is more here. The Old Kingdom is very, very ancient. Okay, very, very ancient. When you talk about the pyramids that were built during the Old Kingdom, this is 5,000 years ago. It's very, very ancient. So I'm delighted to welcome you to this. Why should you study Kemetic culture? Maybe you want to become a writer. Maybe you want to become a coach. Maybe you want to become a YouTuber. Maybe you are interested in the culture of the ancestors. And this is a way to start. Kemetic culture is very, very rich. It will change your life. And I'm delighted to welcome you to this. The 18th dynasty is very interesting. It's the season of Akhenaten. It's the season of Tutankhamen. It's the season of Hatshepsut. It's the season of a group of invaders called Hyksos. It's the season of a conflict between the priesthoods of Amen and the priesthoods of Aten. It's very, Nefertari, which people call Nefertiti, is all in the 18th dynasty. It's a very rich, very rich. The story in the Bible of Moses going to the Promised Land, this is extracted from Akhenaten, who builds a city called Haket Aten in the desert. I mean, it's very rich. It's very rich. So I'm delighted to welcome you to this. It's a very rich history, very rich culture, and there is a way we can preserve the culture is by teaching, is by sharing. Very important, you'll have half of the lessons that will be available on YouTube and the complete lessons available on our website. So if you click on our website, there is a section on the website dedicated to Kemet, and there you're going to find the rich, the culture, the beautiful culture which people call ancient Egypt. So Het Kapta, the Greeks could not pronounce Het Kapta, so they said Egyptopus. Aegyptopus became Egypt, and then nowadays we say ancient Egypt. It was invaded by the Assyrians, by the Persians, by the Greeks in 332 BC, by the Arabs, by the Romans, and then by the Arabs, and then by a group of people who call themselves archaeologists or grave diggers. I don't know. They were looking for treasure, for the artifacts of ancient Kemet. So and then they were sold. It was going to the graves, take all these artifacts and sell them to museums in Europe, all over the world. There are more ancient African artifacts in European museums than anything else. Whether you go to Russia, to Czech Republic, to England, there is a huge collection of artifacts from Kemet. It's because the culture, the civilization is very, very rich, and you can use it to transform your consciousness. The idea of consciousness, higher, lower consciousness, can be traced into Kemet. The theology, the Judeo-Christian theology, the Persian mythology, the Greek mythology, you can trace it back, the origins, into Kemet. English language can be traced back into Kemet. One of the ancient capitals of Kemet was called Mennefer. Mennefer. If you look carefully, the word men we are using today, the word men, it was the ancient capital of Kemet. It was called Mennefer. So very profound, very rich, very beautiful. I'm delighted to welcome you to this. Let's get into this because it's beautiful.